I'll shine my shine. Lydia Mwesigwa is my name. Married to a wonderful husband, blessed with 5 boys and 1 girl, with a daughter I love. I love Jesus Christ. I am born again. I think I've been born again from all my life, and I've never regretted it. I have a master's in rural and urban planning, but my passion is to reach out to the community and be a blessing to as many people as I can. My life is a testimony. When I begin to speak about my testimony and my life, we shall sleep here. My last assignment was representing the Ugandans that were living in Southern Africa, that is in Lesotho. And it was beautiful because I got to serve, which I love most. Serving is my passion. Giving out to the community is a part of me. Making sure that people around me have positive energy is a part of me. I always like to stand out of the crowd. My hairstyle speaks it all. People who know me closely know me as a mother, as a mentor, but also as a prayer warrior. Those who do not know much about me think I'm proud. And one thing I can say right from the bottom of my heart is that God has been good to me, and being myself is just a part of me. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I love Africa, to benefit from Africa. Empowering the boy child has been my greatest dream. I think that's why God has given me the grace to be a mother of 5 wonderful boys. That is a blessing, because the Lord says in Psalms 127 that children are a gift from God, but sons are a heritage from the Lord. And blessed is he whose quiver is full of them, for he will always contend with his enemy when faced with one. That is why when I look at my boys, I'm humbled and I call myself blessed. That is why I always like to stand out of the crowd and tell the people around me, shine your shine as I shine my shine. I'm also a member of an organization called Commonwealth Businesswomen Africa. In brief, it is called CBWA. And we are in almost 25 countries. Our head office is in Nigeria, headed by Madam Ngozi, and our vice president is from Kenya, Madam Nana. In the different countries, we have the country director, we have the vice and the deputy country director, and then the people that they work together with to ensure that our vision is put into place. CBW Africa empowers the women in their business sector. We help the women to move out and be able to promote their businesses in the various Africa through networking. Our vision is mainly to empower the African woman, but also to network and ensure that their products are sold all over Africa. My position right now currently is that I'm the head of membership for the Commonwealth Businesswomen of Africa, and I've done it passionately. With the years that I've been out of Uganda for about 25 years, I have seen a lot of changes among the women in business, whereby the average women are empowered by those that are on a higher level. And it is our main vision to move out to the down women that are just starting, empower them, but also find market for the successful, in brackets, women, so that all of Africa benefits from Africa, and the women benefit from each other successfully, but also with a higher range of reaching out to as many women in business as possible. I formed a foundation called TDF. TDF in full means TIBASINGURWA Development Foundation, that empowers the community, but most specifically the boy child. Did you know that when you empower the boy child, you have empowered the nation? With a lot of suicidal tendencies, with a lot of mental unwellness among the boys, I thought it wise, and God put it on my heart, to reach out to the boy child that has been neglected these days. It is these boys that eventually marry our girls. It is these boys that are responsible for decision making. So this foundation helps them identify their talents and put them to use. It also helps those who are already into their talents to market their talents. It also helps them to stay stable. My best passion is empowering them about resilience. We the Africans are not so good with resilience. Twagala ebintu ebyanguwa, byamangu, funirawa, kagwirawa. But I want to encourage each one of us that when we empower the boy child, slowly but steadily, our tomorrow will be better. The generation will be better. The boys are able to fight, to be able to make wise decisions. They are able to make good husbands. They are able to stand and express themselves without fear or favor. The divorce rates have gone up very high. Why? Because the women are more empowered. The girl child is empowered. And then she comes home and finds this helpless young man who is not empowered, who has not been going through trainings, and in the long run, he cannot stand up by himself. His self-esteem is jeopardized and intimidated by this tough and brilliant woman who comes out to express herself. And in most cases, they may even be well earning than the men. But when you empower the boy child, then you have empowered the nation. My personal experience on helping the struggling boys is basically to help this boy with the change of mindset. It does not matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter the surrounding that you've grown up in. What matters is what are you seeing in your tomorrow. Mine is to tell the boy child that have a change of mindset. Look at where you're going. Look at the bigger picture. Start from wherever you are. Know that you are somebody. And with those positive words that I intend to speak to the boys, that I do speak to the boys, they're able to gain stamina and build their self-esteem. Because it all starts from the mind. When the mind is set, and so I'm not a nobody, I'm a somebody. I'm going somewhere. My journey, my tomorrow is secure. Then you are good to go. You can achieve anything. You can achieve whatever you want. Wow, that's brilliant. The boys are struggling so much because they've been neglected. They've been put out. And it is in their mind that one of the things I would want to point out first is that in the beginning, God created man. He created Adam. And the world has distorted that setting. So we have empowered now the women. So with that, it has left the boy child or the man idle and disorderly, I would say. So in the process, they are not able to make the proper decisions. They are not able to stand out. They say the boy is not supposed to cry. The boy is not supposed to express his emotions. They say, you're supposed to be a man. But I, Lydia, under the TDF, I said to the African boy that no, express yourself. Speak to yourself. Speak out. If you want to cry, cry. Why? Because this will enable you to express your feelings, but also it will enable you to put away the stress. There's a lot of stress. The parents no longer have time for their children. They are running up and down to make ends meet. And with that, we don't find people to mentor the boy child. And they are forced to mentor themselves. So it's a risk. It is a risk to the child. It's a risk to the community. It is a risk to creation itself, because everything needs nurturing. If you look at the plant, it also needs to be watered. So we need to tell the boy child, look here, you can cry, you can express yourself, you can say it all, because the future is bright. Poor boy child health, and it manifests in adult men. One, through poor decision making. If you go in the business sector, if the child is not reasoned well, you'll find he'll become a thief, he'll become shaggy, he does not stand to his word. If it comes to family, it's very hard to have a good husband in that adult. When it comes to the environment as a whole, you find there's a tendency of suicidal tendencies among the men right now. Why? Because they can't stand it. They don't have that resilience that was supposed to be nurtured into them when they were young. They don't have that power to stand and say no to a wrong deal when they are faced with a decision to make. They don't have that creativity. They want something that comes fast and quick. We had this young man, incidentally, it is a sad story, he passed away. He did not have parents, both his parents had passed away. But he kept telling me, I will not mention the country because the relatives may be watching. He kept telling me, Mommy, for us in our background, we do not reach the age of, we do not go to university. I said, why? You have to go to university, you have to study. Myself and my husband and the foundation put it together. We took this young man to school. He studied. We paid his school fees because one of the things we do is to enable them financially, where we get the funding from various well-wishers. And one time we were being funded by the UN, and it's a call event to the community, Empower Foundation, so that we can empower those that I need. The young man studied. When he reached university, he passed away. And so many others that we've been helping. There were those who were on the streets in one of the countries with no help. They were sleeping on the streets. I collected them. By that time, our organization was called Men of Destiny, and started feeding them, helping them to join into the entertainment sector, so that when they entertain people, they're able to earn a living. And so many activities that we do. Fatherless harms the boy child mainly because the child does not see a role model. If I stand up and say, my son, come and do this, he will come, but you know, a woman will always be a woman. And that man ego is in the child, inbuilt inside. So the absentee father affects the child because the child does not have somebody to see. And I don't know, but we are created to learn from our visual sight. When you see your father washing his car, when you see him working, when you see how he treats the wife, when you see him running the day-to-day activities, then the child is able to learn. But when the child has no father, it is a bit disastrous to the child, because then he has to just learn from the hearsay and then come up with the activities that he's told to do, or the activities that he's learning. In fact, that is the reason as to why there's a lot of drug addicts and other activities that are not acceptable in society. I will not mention them. Why? Because now the children are forced to look for, to seek and look out for whom to mentor them, or who to look on to, other than the hearsay from mama, from grandmother, and from the neighbors. Fatherless boys are more prone to mental unwellness. Most of them look back and they look for the father figure and they cannot see it. And it saddens their heart because they are forced to be their own fathers, to be their own mentors. They are forced to impress their mothers and make sure that I will do everything I can just for my mom. It is terrible, but whenever I go out to functions, you hear the children, especially the men, when they are speaking, they say, I'm doing all this for my mom. I'm doing this all for my mom. And that one, psychologically, I strongly believe affects them because they feel that, where is dad? And yet it is said very clearly that a foolish son will bring grief to the mother, but a wise son will bring joy to the father. So the fathers take the pride where they are not willing to invest in the boy child when he's growing. I'm speaking to you, the fathers out there. Please be part of your sons so that when it's time to harvest, you can harvest positively without any guilt around you. No, mentorship cannot replace a father's guidance. Why am I saying this? Because the presence, that warmth is lacking. That, how can I call it? To come out and say, I'm going to play football with my dad, or I'm going to drive out with my dad, or I'm going to graze the cattle with my dad, is lacking. So I think it cannot replace. I strongly believe it cannot replace it. Boys are more likely to use drugs when they drop out of school. One, because they have not been trained the power of resilience. They have not been trained the power to say no to peer pressure. They have not been trained to face the hard times, because when they drop out of school, then they have to make ends meet, especially the low-incomers and the disadvantaged boys. They don't have any way out. Most of them, I look at them in my community, they turn into even alcohol. They turn into alcoholism, which affects their output. They cannot work, of course. They cannot be productive to the community because they are not used. They are not used to somebody patting them on the back and saying, look here, despite not being in school, you can still make it. If you look at most of the billionaires, they are school dropouts. I'm sure they had somebody to stand by their back and say, look here, it doesn't matter whether you're a school dropout, you can still make it. Addiction destroys their immunity long term, because definitely anything that you're addicted to, you cannot do without it. And sometimes the supply is not there. So when the supply is not there, then the child or the boy or the man becomes crazy. Crazy in brackets, I would say mad. They lose their senses. So it is very, very sad. You see, if you look at, especially in here in our country, if you visit Tabika, in brackets, I would speak to the well-to-do families. There are so many of their children who have gone into addiction. And because you have to protect your family name and the family legacy, the child is not attended to, taken to those centers where they are overcrowded, and they have no supplies, and they have no one to share their story to. So worst comes to worst, and the child is really crazy, and then in most cases even they commit suicide. The natural method is prayer, 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 prayer. I have one of my pastors, I love him so much. He says, what God cannot do does not exist. I encourage the caregivers, the parents, the community, to teach your children how to pray in their various religious afflictions. As for me, I would pray for them in the mighty name of Jesus, because I strongly believe that it is a spirit that comes to steal, kill, and destroy the future generation. So my first recommendation would be prayer. My second commission would be talks, have talks, seminars. And the other one would be have activities, music, entertainment. With the depression, with the peer pressure, with a lot of challenges going on, scarcity. If you do music, it's one, it is entertaining. Number two, it helps to earn a living, and then it helps to solve the challenge of depression. Bullying affects the altar boy's development in various sectors. I will first give an example of my sons. I remember when we were staying in Sierra Leone, there was an outbreak of Ebola, and we came back to Uganda. And I took them to one of the schools, very renowned school in Kampala. I'm not going to mention the school. And they told them, no, don't sit next to us. You have Ebola. And my sons came home crying. I asked them, what's the problem, guys? They said the children cannot sit with us because we have Ebola. I had to sit them down in their tender age and tell them, look here, you do not have Ebola. I had to go to the school. We have already paid school fees, but we had to retrieve the boys from the school. We paid the school fees. So it affected them. They wanted to stay home instead of going to school because they were afraid that they were going to be told they have Ebola. So it affects them. It affects their performance. It's time consuming. It's money consuming. It's everything. The somatic diseases that come out from unhealed boy trauma is mainly high blood pressure, diabetes, back pains, violence, unnecessary fear. These days there's even panic attacks. And these diseases are incurable. They are expensive. And I would urge the community and the caregivers, the parents, to look out for these young men, minister to their issues, address their issues. I urge the governments to tackle their issues before they can become a problem to the community and to the society. Because when the boy child or the man is sick, then he cannot do much. Production is low. Raising the next generation is at risk. So it is a whole chain of problem after problem when not addressed at the right time. Our foundation's approach to healing the boy child is mainly through motivational talks, through connecting them to religious groups, mainly the church, through empowering them to identify their skills and talents and put them to use. Because we are mainly dealing with these vulnerable boys that are down deep in the villages who can't afford a meal. But at the same time, we are also dealing with the high-profile young men whose parents have no time for them. So our approach is mainly to identify their talents and put them to use. One of the examples that I can give vividly is I have a very close friend of mine. They have everything. In Ugandan setting would say they are they are billionaires, but their child, they wanted their child to do a certain career which the child does not want to do. The child didn't have anybody to turn to. He did the career that they wanted him to do. They bought him everything, gave him everything. But guess what? Because he did not have any mentorship, because he felt psychologically abused, betrayed, he has gone back to zero. He has gone back to drinking, joined peer pressure, drugs, and he's lost it all. We need to reach out to such young men and hold their hands, put them in foundations like ours, and speak to them, encourage the parents, have workshops to talk to the parents, mix the workshop with both parents and the children and the boy child, and hear what they have to say, and then address it with the help of our foundation.
CILA TV is proudly powered by CILA Wellness Africa